Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Fresh Hour, or just Tanner. Doesn't matter what you want to call me. With the Fresh Start Initiative, and we are doing another video log this morning. So I will show you what we are about to do this on. So the first thing we're going to do, oh, whoops, a daisy, is do diets really just make you fatter? Like, do they work? Next one is starvation mode a real or imaginary thing? Because people like to talk about it a lot. And then the third one is 8 reasons why you're not losing weight on keto. Those are fun. So I guess first off, I will do a shameless plug here. There we go. Shameless plug initiated. This is my website. If you guys haven't seen it yet, this is a little bit about me, the 2 plans that I offer, and then the basic body preparation plan that's free. Some testimonials. I think I'm going to start adding the rest of them on there. There's a lot. I update these almost daily. Live stream every Saturday, 8 a.m. Mailing list until more people sign up. I'm not cranking that out every week. Previous videos, you can look at all those. I update that a little bit, but really you can just go onto my YouTube channel. I have a link there, and they're all there. And then obviously this button works. So if you guys would like to donate, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate it. Everything goes to making this picture not look like it was filmed with a potato, and the computer improving that as well. So let's dive into it. What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? Do diets really just make you fatter? It's a great question. Hang on one second. Okay, there we go. We're good. So obviously, this is very, very true. Dieting is a multi-billion-dollar global industry. There's no evidence that people are becoming slimmer as a result. Duh. Yeah. So nobody's getting slimmer. As a whole, we just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And that's really for a lot of reasons. And they're going to give you some reasons, and we're going to read about several more. But a general principle, and I get in trouble a lot for making a lot of general statements, but they're there for a reason because it happens a lot. So people do what they care about. If you ever have somebody in your life, or usually, this is almost always the case, if someone is not doing something, they just don't care about it. If someone is not losing weight, they don't care enough. Does somebody not go to the bathroom every day? Do you not go pee? Do you not go poop? What do you do? No, of course you do. You have to do it, but it's a big enough deal to you that you do it. Do you wipe every day? You don't necessarily have to do that, really. I mean, eventually it might get a little bit infected, but I'm just saying you do it because you care about it, right? You wake up, you go to work, you have to go to work because you care. I mean, there's nobody like forcing you to go, but you care enough. It's important enough to you on the list of things to do that day. And so everything you do every day, you do it because it's important enough to you and you care about it. So we're not losing enough weight as a country. Everybody's getting fatter and unhealthier, right? It's because nobody cares. Your doctors don't really care. You don't really care. Your loved ones don't matter enough for you to actually do it. That's the one that's really, that one will get you. Like, you know, for instance, there's a lot of people that have problems with addictions and things of that nature, and you have to have an intervention, right? You have to show them that you care about them to make them change because they don't really care enough. And we all like to make these these almost never-ending excuses for ourselves of why we're not doing something when, you know, Shia LaBeouf said it very well. Just do it. That's all you have to do is just start. Failing something is significantly different progress-wise than never even trying it in the first place. So everyone's getting fatter because nobody really cares. Your doctor doesn't really care. He just wants to keep your creatinine, I don't know, you know, at a decent level. He wants your cholesterol, which he doesn't necessarily really understand that level fluctuates depending upon your diet. He wants to keep that at a certain, certain level. If you drink a little bit every now and then, you know, let's have your liver enzymes be okay, but, you know, we don't really want to talk about that. Oh, you smoke, so let's, okay, let's just try and cut that down. I don't want to try and maybe encourage any better habits to do other than that. Oh, you vape instead of smoking. Oh, then it's like some of my friends that are doctors still think vaping is a healthier alternative to smoking. Maybe for the people around you, because smoking is like super associated with like asthma and stuff like that for the people around you, kids and stuff. Like, anyway, then your doctor tells you to go outside and exercise for 30 minutes a day. Like kids need like, what was it, like 30 to 60 minutes of vigorous activity a day. Go look at most of your doctors and tell me if they look like they've ever had vigorous physical activity a day in their life. No, we're nerds. Most of us are nerds and never went outside and did any physical activity. You go through medical school, you can't even go outside ever. I mean, I went in the Caribbean, so I took some time to go outside after my exams, right? But you lock us away for 2 years, and then you put us in a hospital and lock us away in a hospital for 2 years. We get no education on physical activity. Nutrition is just almost completely ignored. All we ever really talk about is vitamin and mineral deficiencies that almost never happen, or like metabolic errors whenever you talk about like in cell biology and stuff. We talk about these little these errors in amino acid metabolism and stuff. They're super, super rare disorders, but rather than just actually talking about it, what a real diet is and stuff, it's like, we don't get any of that. So your doctor doesn't necessarily even know for you, like how you should lose weight. I have so many friends that are physicians right now that are fat, and they're some of the most brilliant people in the world, and they can't figure it out, but they're also too proud to even ask for help, which is super frustrating. That's a rant. I apologize. So 13% of the world's population has obesity, and this number increased to 35% in the United States. Most of these numbers are very padded to make us feel better, right? If you don't feel good, you won't watch. So, or you won't watch, you won't read. So a lot of these sites like to pad numbers and stuff like that. I know, shocker. I promise you it happens. So, all right. So as this epidemic continues to grow, people turn to calorie-restricted diets in an attempt to lose weight. Calorie restriction just means that you are restricting your calories. Diet usually just means it's temporary and you'll relapse and fail. I'm just kidding. However, people with obesity aren't the only ones dieting. Losing weight is a priority for people who have less weight or are slightly overweight, particularly women. So, facts are sexist now. Many researchers believe this is related to having poor body image because body dysmorphia is a massive deal, which is made worse by constant media exposure to slim model celebrities and athletes. Yeah, and you want to take that one further. Those athletes, those celebrities, and those slim models are all on steroids. Like, we need to wake up to this idea. If you see somebody who looks like they are on steroids, they are on steroids. And I'm not just saying, testosterone, Diana Ball, Winstrol, any of these, like DECA, you just go down all this big list. There's SARMs, selective androgen receptor modulators, that have a significantly better side effect profile that even women can take. And women used to just be taking like Anavar and stuff like that. There's steroids for women to take now too. And so if having who are less slightly overweight, particularly women are already the ones that are trying to lose weight the most often, right? And that could be cultural norms that we have created. So like, let's blame the culture, but we created it, right? Let's buy the clothes and buy the magazines and stuff that create the image that we want to complain about. Sorry, hypocritical, funny though. Anyway, sorry, I lost my train of thought a little bit here because that one always kills me. Let's just keep going and maybe it'll hit me again. So poor body image. Oh yeah, body dysmorphia, bodybuilders and stuff. Almost anybody who's ever won an IFBB Pro, that's how every single bodybuilder that ever says they're professional, they're on steroids, okay? Any guy you see with cannonball delts and a six-pack who's absolutely shredded, if they're over like 5'6", because if you're a really short person, it's just easier for you. Gravity doesn't hit you as hard. It's just a lot easier. Everything's tinier, like limb-wise. But once you get into like the 6 to 6'5" range, maybe 5'10" then, if they're ripped, lots of muscle, they're on steroids or they were on steroids. There's something called the FFMI. It's a little calculator you can use to really prove that people are on steroids. So we're going to move on past that because that's really frustrating to me as someone who likes to help people lose weight, who have these unbelievably unrealistic expectations of themselves and what they should be like, because you are constantly barraged with what you should look like, yet you don't know that that person wakes up every morning, snorts cocaine, has an eating disorder, has like like some of them even get like special vitamin IVs and stuff like that because they're just so chronically malnourished. And they're like, but their teeth are white and they have a person who follows them around and does their makeup and their hair. So we just assume that that's beauty. But, you take their makeup off, they wake up the next day, you get to really look at their skin and their hair and you can see that they're just, they're a house of cards. They're going to fall apart. We don't ever get to see that side of people, That's just something to think about. Okay, the desire to be thin is very common in women and can begin as early as 5 years old. Early awareness of dieting is often due to a mother's dieting behavior. Yes, so shocker, a child wants to pretend or wants to be like their mom or their dad, whatever. That's just how it works, right? The issue is we use words like thin, so skinny, thin, skinny, thin. We need to use words like lean. Women need to stop focusing so much on losing fat, and they need to focus 100%, 180, gain muscle. Gain muscle. You need to gain muscle. And we will talk about that as we continue, right? The billion-dollar diet industry. Okay, in 2015, more than $150 billion of profits. $150 billion. Global, 246. Weight loss programs can be quite expensive. Yeah, they're expensive, and they're almost all a waste of time. And then you have someone like me who's a doctor who wants to tell you exactly how to do it and actually teach you how to do it, and I get labeled as overpriced, arrogant, condescending. But there's a little frustration there, I promise. So the average cost to lose 11 pounds ranged from $755 for the Weight Watchers program to $2,730 for the medication Orlistat. Oh yeah, let's take Orlistat. That's a really good idea. Super great idea, everybody. Or do Weight Watchers. I just want you to go into any program you ever do with this mindset. You are not applying a Band-Aid to your weight. You're not applying a Band-Aid to your life. Any program that you ever go into to get better, be it physical training, like physical activity, like performance, for maybe a sport. If you want to gain muscle, so weight training. If you want to do yoga and maybe have like a more like spiritual connection with yourself, flexibility, mobility, those are different things. Or diet, lifestyle, habitual, ceremonial adaptations that you make to what you do and eat every day. You need to go into any program like that with the belief that I'm going to find a way to do this every single day and incorporate this into my life. And if I can't incorporate this into my life and I'm miserable, this is a horrible program and it's stupid because we don't want these temporary fixes. That's what happens with yo-yo diets. And as we will talk about again later, when you lose weight and gain weight really quickly, you lose a lot of muscle, very little fat and water. And when you gain the weight back, you only really gain back the fat and the water and you lose the muscle, which is the driving force of the insulin sensitivity that you're looking for in the first place. So, women, focus on gaining muscle. Lift weights. Stop doing the 47 to 92 rep range. Don't do 12 sets of 400. Do like 3 sets of 6 or 4, 6, 8 or 6, 8, 10 or I don't want to say 6, 6. That's not very good juju to have for the day. But focus on resistance training. Orange Theory is the biggest waste of money that people could ever. It's like the most unfathomable. It's terrible. Do this exercise for 30 minutes or 30 seconds. Just bang it out. Go. Have no. I don't want you to have any goal while you're doing this other than just to do as many as you can. And I get it. There's some Orange Theory trainers that are really great. But like every rep in an exercise, there's a purpose to it, right? You should do every single thing every day that you're trying to better yourself with purpose. If you're just, playing with a bottle cap on the floor because you're bored, not that people do that anymore, you don't really need a purpose for that. You're just bored and you're entertaining yourself. But if you're actually trying to do something to get better or improve your life, the act of improving or practicing needs to have a purpose to it, right? I know like old coaches who say that all the time. Yeah, diet industry generates billions every single year and nobody loses weight. So weight loss diet success rates. All right, in one study, 3 years after participants concluded a weight loss program, only 12% had kept weight off at least 75%, or 12% had kept off the 75% weight loss. So only 12% of these people, so 12 out of 100 people kept off at least 75% of the weight that they lost, right? So if I lost 100 pounds, I would have to keep off 75% of that, so 75 pounds, and only 12 of those 100 people did it. I don't know, I just like to use big numbers for my little brain. 40% had gained back more weight than they had originally lost. That's the yo-yo diet. And you know what? When those 40% gain back more weight than they originally lost, they have less muscle and more fat. Their insulin sensitivity is worse, and metabolic syndrome-wise, hip-to-waist ratio-wise, lean muscle mass to fat mass and bone mass ratio-wise, they're way worse, way more likely to have heart disease. They're way more likely to have kidney disease, liver disease, fatty liver. They're way more likely to have PCOS or polycystic ovarian syndrome, depending on if they're menstruating, because they're gaining way more weight. They get those little black patches under their arms, the acanthosis nigricans. They get all those little bumps and stuff that people just say, I have all these bumps on my shoulders and stuff. They're all related to obesity and insulin, but we don't like to talk about that ever. We just want to blame stuff. Man, I'm in a jaded mood today, but I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it right now. Okay, so another study found that only 19% of people were able to maintain 10% weight loss for 5 years. 19% were able to maintain a 10% weight loss for 5 years. So if you lost 10 pounds, to maintain a 10% weight loss. So if I lost 100 pounds, I only kept that 10 pounds off, maybe because it takes them 5 years to gain it back. I don't know. That's just ridiculous to me. You can lose weight super, super duper fast, and it can be totally normal and healthy for you, but there's a lot of things you need to do right. Or you can lose weight really kind of just as you go about your daily life and not really even think about it too much, and you keep that off too. It's a totally different approach. But all these really do is just calorically restrict you an insane amount. And they say things like, make sure you have your breakfast and your juice cleanse and your shake. But they almost, they almost demonize fats, when in reality, when you're on a super restricted diet, you should be having 50 or more % protein, just because you're going to be ripping apart your muscles for amino acids because you are starving. In a sense, caloric restriction is starving. Fasting is not starving, though. Those are different things. Weight loss studies, 14. Okay, so some researchers, 14 weight loss studies pointed out that in many cases, regain may be higher than reported because follow-up rates are very low and weights are often self-reported by phone or mail. And we all know that nobody ever lies about anything in their life ever, which is another fun fact. Most of everything that we know about weight loss, about diet, a lot of these things that aren't clinical trials that are they cost millions and millions of dollars, it's all by phone and mail. And people lie so much about everything. You know what I mean? If I was going on a diet and I never really had to talk to you again, and I know that I'm going to be used for something else later, and I'm really insecure about my weight. I've struggled with it a lot. My doctor's really dumb and he can't help me. I've been to nutritionists who just try and get me on their favorite diet. They use words like biohack and boost my immune system. So I eye roll at them and realize that those boosting my immune system just happens when I lose weight in the first place and have a decent diet. Anyway, I've struggled. I've been through all these people. I hate it. I don't want to tell one more person that I failed again. So I'm going to say, you know what? I kept all the weight off. Send it in. Then it gets posted as a study. Healthline grabs it, or any other article on the entire freaking internet grabs it, and they're like, man, this program's amazing. Look at all these people who wrote in. It's dude, everybody lies. Everybody lies about their weight. We have an obesity epidemic. Over 75% of adults are overweight. You know what I mean? It's not like anybody's hiding it anymore, but we do like to lie about it. And I don't blame them, the internet is so mean to people. It used to be shown statistically that fat shaming worked, but then we got it because everybody's so sensitive now. Fat shaming, it almost doesn't work because I don't know. That's a fun chat. But what it should be is everybody who should fat shame needs to just go somewhere for a while and be forced to do something that they don't like. Or some inconvenience, clean up dog poop with your bare hands for 4 hours a day, every day. Not that I've had to do that recently, but I think that would be a good humble pie exercise, right? But everybody who says that every fat person is beautiful and healthy and totally okay and they can do whatever they want, which I mean they can do whatever they want, that is equally as bad. Because, okay, let's say you have somebody who's a heroin addict. Everyone in their life cares about them. Intervention wants to happen. If they relapse enough, eventually people usually just move on from them, even though that's not what any religious text says they should do. They should just keep continuing to pour love on them. All I'm saying is you have somebody who's obese in your family. I have some people that are obese in my family. They're like married in, so I don't really want to go into that. I'm not saying they're like inferior. I'm kidding. But we don't look at them like we do a heroin addict or an alcoholic or something like that, when in reality, it's just as bad. It's just as bad. And financially, it's worse. It's worse. And we don't look at it that way. There's people, a very large group of people in this world that think being overweight and obese is totally fine. And being a little overweight is not actually that big of a deal. There's a lot of power lifters that are chunky and eat pizza and all kinds of stuff. There's sumo wrestlers that are obese, but metabolically and on their lab values and their insulin sensitivity, how fast they reduce their blood sugar after having a carbohydrate-dense meal, is really good. And so they're like obese, but they're not really obese because they have such high intensity training, which is sumo wrestling, that they're totally fine. So yeah, in my opinion, being overweight and obese, like really overweight or obese, just as bad as being a heroin addict, a cocaine addict, a gambler. But we just don't treat it that way, And now the fact that we view it as like something that's okay, that's why 75% of adults are all overweight. We can't figure out how to lose weight. And you just saw the rates that nobody ever gained. Nobody keeps the weight off in the first place because we don't really change it. We just say, hey, Joe, pronounless schmo, here's the diet that you're going to eat every day. Hi, girl. Here's a diet that you're going to eat today. I'm not going to tell you why you're going to eat it. You're not going to know the macronutrients of it or where it's from, if it's processed or not, or anything like that. You're just going to eat it, and we'll see what happens. And I would love for some of these studies to actually educate the clients. Like that would be amazing to see what the relapse rates, if they dropped or, went way down, right? So let's see. Chronic dieting and weight gain. People without obesity, recent diet behavior predicted. Okay. A 2013 review found that in 15 out of 20 studies of people without obesity, recent dieting behavior predicted weight gain over time. So people who try to diet, it's associated with gaining weight. And granted, we all gain, I think it's like a pound a year after a certain age, like 25 or 30, depending on if you're male or female. Just the association of dieting behavior is weight gain, because we yo-yo, we fail. Whenever we fail something, a lot of us weren't athletes anymore, or maybe some of us never were athletes. We don't know how to deal with failure. So what do we do whenever we're upset? We eat, because that's what they do in movies. Find a movie, find a chick flick where they don't just eat when they're sad. You know what I mean? Guys, what do guys in movies do whenever they're sad? They go out and they drink, they get hammered, they get sloshed, they go out with their boys and they go eat and they do whatever. Everybody's associating everything with food anytime you're upset, when in reality, you're super upset. You just failed something. I don't know. Maybe we should go do some physical activity. Maybe. How many kids run around outside thinking, man, this is terrible? And I'm not talking about most of the kids now, because most kids now are overweight too. The obesity is going into them too. But just imagine when you were kids and you're out on recess, because most schools don't even have recess anymore, because the root of where all of this obesity and overweightness and unhealthiness starts goes, I mean, it's everywhere, right? But imagine when you were a kid. Sorry, my dog's trying to say hi. You were happy outside running around. You're having a blast, But when we become adults, we're like, you know what? I'm just so tired. It's such a long day. I just want to sit on this couch. Dude, go outside. Go outside. Sit outside for 5 minutes instead of sitting on your couch for 5 minutes. Go outside and go for a walk for 5 minutes. Calorically, going on a walk is nothing, right? I mean, actually, walking is better than jogging for losing weight. Statistically, that's a fun fact. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of answers to all of these issues that we have, but it's almost like sometimes people don't really want them. And they don't realize that culture, the government, politics, education, where your kids go to school and go to college especially, it's all wrong about health and weight loss, and nobody cares. nobody cares. Like, that's the best part about it. Pharmaceutical companies control all the algorithmic regulations that all these people disperse. So, from your doctors to your nurses to your nutritionists to your certified health coaches who took a 4-week course, got something written in crayon, pharmaceutical companies control basically everything that they can say unless they're independent, then they're not FDA approved. And then most people don't even want to bat an eye at them in the first place. All I'm saying is it's all designed for you to fail. So you need to care. And people just don't. But I'm just letting you know, seeing your doctor for weight loss is usually never going to work. And they'll give you a medication that once you finally stop taking it, you never fixed any of the things that caused it in the first place. You'll gain it right back. When you gain it right back, you don't gain the muscle back. You just gain the fat back. Now you're even more unhealthy. So, 2003 study found that teens who dieted were twice as likely to become more overweight than non-dieting teens. Again, people who try to lose weight more likely to be the kind of people that gain weight. It's an association. Just like my video log yesterday, they're like, people who eat copious amounts of fruits and vegetables are more likely to be healthier and lose and like and or no have no, they're saying that they were saying that fruits and vegetables was associated with increased heart health. And I'm like, you don't think that the people who are more health conscious and eat fruits and vegetables are more likely to be the people that are healthier? I don't know. I love the way that a lot of this stuff gets twisted for you guys to think and buy into it. Obviously, eating apples and vegetables and stuff, fruits and vegetables, really good for you. But the people who eat the most of them are normally not the people that are like CPAP, BiPAP at night, 200 pounds overweight. What was that? What's that network called? That one network that does all those obesity documentaries, or like those people are calling them, No, the people that eat fruits and vegetables are, and I'm talking about that the studies report, are type A enough to report back to a study. But those are the people that are going to go for walks. They're going to go work out some way, shape, or form that they exercise. They might be the kind of person that buys into fasted cardio, but doesn't really matter. We can talk about that one too. I think I'm throwing a lot of judgment in this video, and I apologize. I'm frustrated with this stuff. I am so frustrated. I apologize for being so negative. I'm just thinking about how many things that I've said that could be deemed judgmental. All right, so this is a super great idea. Actually work. Healthy choices in mindful eating or intuitive eating, either one that you want to call that is the best thing that you can ever freaking do. Anytime you're doing something or eating something, think about it. Anytime something's about to go into your mouth, think about it. If you just ate some Oreos, some cheesecake, I want you to ask yourself why you did it. And you might just say, because I wanted some Oreos or cheesecake. Great. Just being mindful and actually processing cognitively what you just did is a great way. Because unless you even, I think that's one of the phases of change, precognition. Unless you actually start thinking about it, you're never going to really fix it unless you just get maybe lucky, right? Eating mindfully or intuitively, that's really great. Slowing down, you can also, not have anything to drink with your food. That's a really great way of slowing down. I hate chewing my food a lot, but if I don't really drink anything with it, it makes me chew it a lot more. Exercise regularly, great. Resistance training, lifting weights, bands, anything that goes against gravity with maybe some added resistance is going to long-term be the best exercise that you can possibly do, granted that you're doing it right. That's another thing to talk about. If you want to talk about how to do exercise correctly, maybe sign up for one of my programs, and I'll tell you. Except that achieving your ideal weight may not be possible. That's bull. You can look however you want. It just depends. So, there's cause and effect, right? So there's stimulus and there's change. And if the change you want's all the way up here, the stimulus you want has to be up there too. It doesn't really work that way. And part of the reason, here's what I did, and this is the results that I get, on the level, right? It doesn't work that way, but we like to take pills for things. And so if I give you steroids, injection or oil or oral or something like that, now what you're really doing every day is still down here, but your results are all the way up here. It's like no brainer why people take it. You can achieve results that would otherwise be nearly impossible to get otherwise. So I think that's ridiculous and super setting people up to be okay with failing. But it is also realistic, If you're 250 pounds overweight and you want to grow 3 inches and put on 200 pounds of muscle or something, like, yeah, that's probably not possible. But I would first, okay, so the way I would approach this, your ideal weight, I'd want to ask why that's your ideal weight. And maybe once we can start getting into why you want to be like that and why you think that's healthy and why you think the way that that person looks that you want to be like, because we all know that that's what they want to look like. Granted, we have like this Frankenstein person in our brain that we want to be like, right? Once we can address why that is what your goal is, then we can kind of shape that to then now it is possible. Now your goal is possible. Rather than being like, hey, you know what? I'm glad you have a goal. Shoot for the moon or shoot for the stars, or what, you know, that whatever, you fall short type of thing. All I'm saying is, if you have a realistic goal, you can achieve it, which feels great. If we just let you set unrealistic goals and we don't ever talk about it and you fail, just failing something else. We fail stuff all the time. I've failed more exams than most people take in their entire life. But I'm still here, and it builds character, right? But it's not fun to fail things. So I would say rather than dealing with this ideal in quotes right there, why don't you work and speak with your doctor if they had a clue, or your nutritionist, personal trainer, something like that, establishing an actual realistic goal first. Then the weight may be possible. It is possible. But you never really, okay, so this is a little caveat. I promise this will be it because this went on way too long. I'll do videos on these other articles later. The thing that drives me nuts, I love that these dogs are going crazy while I'm trying to do this. Okay, I know where I am now. Your ideal weight may not be possible. So this is a very good example of, rather than addressing a problem, they're trying to set you up in some way, shape, or form to address the symptom, right? So rather than addressing what made you fat, we're going to give you a pill or something like that to make you lose the weight, but we never really fixed what caused it in the first place, right? Kind of like people that have a lot of really bad skin conditions and stuff are actually due to things that they do to themselves, but we just give them tons of steroids and sometimes like metronidazole cream and stuff. And we don't ever really try to figure out what's going on because we deem that as being too difficult. So we just give them creams and stuff. And we don't ever really fix the issue, but their skin cleared up despite, now we've just given them a glucocorticoid to be on for the rest of their life, which does some really great stuff to skin long term. But yeah, so my point is, this mindset right here with the accept that achieving your ideal weight may not be possible is kind of like this perpetuated mindset that is in everything. Rather than dealing with what's your ideal mindset that you want, your ideal goal, weight loss goal, and how you view yourself in the future, rather than figuring out how to make that realistic, we're just going to tell you that you're going to fail. Like, you probably fail. You'll probably fail. You'll go for it. You'll probably fail. That just drives me nuts. Doesn't it drive you nuts, Lucy? Okay. All right. I think we're almost done here. The bottom line, the desire to be thin often begins early in life, particularly among girls, and it can lead to chronic diet and restrictive eating patterns. That was fun to talk about. This can do more harm than good. Yes, it can. Contrary to popular opinion, permanent changes in lifestyle habits are needed. Yes. So let's stop using the word diet. Well said, Cecilia Snyder. Well said. Breaking the dieting cycle can help you develop a better relationship with food, like intuitive eating, and maintain a healthier, stable weight. All right, we'll go outside. Okay. So anyway, everybody, I am Dr. Fresh Hour, or Tanner, whatever you want to call me. And I'm going to be doing a video about the starvation mode, and I'll probably include the keto reasons why you're not losing weight in that one too. Sorry, this one kind of ran a little long. Hope you enjoy it. See you guys.